The Rock Metal Podcast, episode 217 with the CASTOR TROYS. Here we go. All right. Rock Metal Nation, what is up? This is John from the Rock Metal Podcast. That sample you just heard was Blackout Love by the CASTOR TROYS, who I've got on the show with me right now. They've got a new EP called Legends Never Die, set to release on November 9th. And right now I'm being joined by Chris and Matt to share some stories about the music and share more info about the band. So guys, welcome to the show.
Hey John, thanks for having us.
Absolutely great to have you guys on. Killer music. And speaking of which, let's listen back to that track, Blackout Love.
Blackout Love.
She and I made out in the street in the blackout of those three. We ran through traffic on the go, tossing the bottles that we stole off of some downtown patio. Oh, blues spots love before the lights come on. I know this girl will be the death of me up to no good. Short on pride, ask no questions, hear no lies, we raised hell, her and I. Often I think of that day, you see I never got a name before the crowd swept her away. Blue spots love before the lights come on. I know this girl will be the death of me, up to no good.
Coming back from Blackout Love, killer track. I'm curious, maybe it's self-explanatory in the title. I don't know. What's the story or inspiration behind Blackout Love?
Blackout Love was written about the 2003 blackout that we had here in Southern Ontario, where everything literally for no reason just all of a sudden went dark, and all of us were just going, what's going on? And it was dark for a while.
It was a day and a half or something. The power went out like all over Toronto, the whole region. And like all of a sudden everybody was just like nobody knew what was going on. It was summertime, right? So I guess it was, overloaded power grid or whatever. Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, we're all outside, eating all the ice cream and stuff in the freezer because it's all going to go bad, drinking the beer while it's still cold, and, just coping. And it was like this sort of weird phenomenon where like nobody could do anything. You couldn't drive anywhere because the traffic lights were all out, so traffic was terrible, and nobody could there was no work to go to because there were no lights on anywhere. And it was basically an unscheduled 2 days off for the whole province.
It sounds terrible, eating ice cream, drinking beer, and not working.
You could do worse, right?
Yeah, it was horrible. We were all extremely depressed about that.
Deeply traumatized.
And in summer,
Yeah.
so it wasn't like, oh, and it was minus 40 that year too.
No, and if I remember, it wasn't even that hot. So like, it's not like everybody was dying without air conditioning. It was like, a nice 26 or so degrees, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was actually really lovely. I think the thing that got everyone, it was almost apocalyptic because it happened out of nowhere. And like, I know myself, I was out in Oakville trying to get back to Burlington and going, I don't have any cash on me. And I don't know that I have enough gas in my truck to get back to Burlington.
Oh, wow.
Because all the debit machines were down. I didn't have cash. I was like, well, let's hope this works. And traffic was a mess. And me personally, I was lucky enough. I happened to find a bar that had power. So.
Good place to get stuck.
Exactly.
So Aaron wrote the song based on, what might have happened, if, two people falling in love during this brief blackout, this brief romance, while it's going on.
We've got candles lit. We've got ice cream that's melting. We've got beer. Honey, let's go.
Booze, bites, and love.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Well, that's a fantastic story. I was not expecting that one.
Yeah, it's a little love story. That's the way I always put it out there. It's just a small little fun love story, and at the very end of it, the two people just part ways and they're left with their memories.
Isn't that just life?
Yeah, it is.
All right. Let's go and listen to the next track. We Are One.
We are one.
Suit up and get ready for the siege with the onset of a time to go out and earn a claim. This is it, showdown. Can't stop thinking of my hometown. I'll stand to kick some ass, take some names. You and I are heading out to war. Hands down, guns high, we're running shore. High stakes, son, we are one. We'll fight, we will fight. In lockstep, we are one. We'll fight, we will fight. Too young to die, eyes on fire, I'll tell you why. Goddamn, I swear it is all that we know. Not afraid, not concerned about my crew and a lesson learned. At the end of the day, we'll say we're heroes. You and I are heading out to war. Heads down, guns high, we're running shore. High stakes, son, we are one. We'll fight, we will fight. In lockstep, we are one. We'll fight, we will
It's John from the Rock Metal Podcast for a real quick break to let you know that Jay over at Metal Mayhem Radio is looking to help you get your band in rotation on his station. So go ahead and hit up Jay at studio@metalmayhem.com metalmayhemradio.co.uk. That is studio at metalmayhemradio.co.uk. Just go ahead and say that the Rock Metal Podcast sent you. He'll get you into rotation on Metal Mayhem Radio. All right, come back from We Are One, which is the lead single off of the EP Legends Never Die. Now, similar question for you guys. What's the story or inspiration behind We Are One?
That was an older song of ours off our first release that we were never really happy with, so we reworked. The lyrics were actually some of the first lyrics Aaron ever wrote with the band several years ago. Just sort of the idea of camaraderie and a small group against a larger oppressive group, right? So it ended up getting reworked into this more anthem type of song. I guess about solidarity and, you and I, when he says you and I are going out to war, he's not saying against each other. He's saying together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Standing shoulder to shoulder against whatever you're fighting against. Yeah. I really like the rework of the song personally, because we used to end our shows with that. And what we always noticed was the crowd would get into it. And we just couldn't figure out why the song wasn't catching on as well as we thought it should. Mm-hmm. And that's why when we sat down to rework it, we added a few things to it, changed a few things around, and it's become this wicked anthem song. And a lot of people I talk to, they're like, this is now added onto my daily playlist.
It's a great song. Obviously, I didn't hear the original, but that's just smart. So I wanted to give you guys some kudos to be like, hey, we've got this song, and people don't seem to be getting it. So instead of going, well, they're wrong, they don't get our genius. You're instead going, hold on a second. If it's not hitting, we're the ones who are not doing the hitting. So how can we? I'm curious, how did you guys go back and rework it? And what was the research and development on that?
Well, my recollection of it is we brought it to our producer at the time, Andre Black, and we said, look, we exactly what I said earlier. We've got this song. It really grabs people when we do it live, but it's not taken off. What's going on? And I remember him looking at us as we're listening to it. He goes, the song doesn't have a chorus. And we all, in unison, went, yes, it does. It's right there. And he goes, no, that's a pre-chorus. And so we went in and we started reworking some of what was going on. And then we added that big chorus to it and then started building from there. And it became this just, really loud, mind-blowing chorus that everyone can get into. Mm-hmm. So that's my recollection. Chris, I'm not sure how you remember.
Yeah, I mean, the big switch was the original version was in 6/8 time, and we moved this to a 4/4 time, which just made it way more driving and rocking. The original one was kind of cool because it started with this military drum beat in 6/8 time that could have been something from like a marching band drum line or something like that, and then we got rid of all of that, threw it into 4/4 time, changed the chord progression around a little bit, but still kept the vocal hook, the whoa, that, which was the strongest part of the song. And then basically sat that into this new arrangement, new time signature, slightly changed chord progression, and it just fit so much better. I remember sitting around with everybody with a guitar and, changing literally just one chord in the chord progression, and it fit under that vocal refrain perfectly. And we all just sort of looked at each other and went, wow. And it's not like it was some genius. It was just, I'm just going to try a C chord instead of an E chord. Mm-hmm. And just boom, just pure luck like that. And it was like, holy, it's so much better. We knew instantly, it was just vastly improved.
For the Lord looked favorably upon Chris that day and gave him the C chord.
You know what? That's just it. I mean, honestly, anytime I've come up with a good riff or idea for a song, it's all been I sit down with a guitar, I pick it up, and it's the first thing that comes out. If I try for more than 5 minutes, I always end up with garbage. But I sit down, pick it up, and boom, all of a sudden right there. And you're right, it is. It's almost like divine intervention or something. Next thing you know, you've got this cool riff coming out of your fingers, and it's where did that come from? I have no idea where that came from.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember a quote that I heard about artistry, and basically we don't come up with something, we bring something down, and really the only way to get into the jive of it is to figure out how to put yourself into a receptive state more than a creative state.
I've heard that before. I don't know who said it, but I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's so true.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Well, for Rock Metal Nation who dug the 2 tracks, Blackout Love and We Are One, is going to be super excited to know that there is a full EP called Legends Never Die that's set to release on November 9th. So, guys, if you wouldn't mind, when we pick up the EP, what should we expect?
A lot of greatness.
There, obviously, when you're really close to the music, it's sort of hard to pick out what the strongest track is, but I don't even think we've released the strongest tracks yet. I think my favorite track is one that is one called Watch the City Burn. Got a bit of a different vibe than the 2 we just heard. And I think we got 6 pretty solid songs on there. I think we're all really stoked with it and really excited to see it come to life.
Definitely. And then if you like storytelling of a true story, Wreck of the Bastard is one of my favorite stories that the band has written, or Aaron's written, I should say. And it's one of my favorite. The song's a lot harder, but I can listen to that story front to back, close my eyes, and imagine everything going on because it's a true story. It's phenomenal. So there's a lot of stuff that hasn't been put out there yet that is just amazing.
Cool. Well, the next logical question on Rock Metal Nation's mind is, how can we find out more about you and stay in touch? Is there a website that we should go to?
The usual stuff, the CASTORTROYS.ca, Facebook.com/CASTORTROYS, Twitter, Instagram. The handle is always the Castor Troys, all one word.
Cool. All right. Well, boys, unless there's anything else you wanted to throw out there, I just wanted to thank you for taking time out of your day to come on to the Rock Metal Podcast and sharing the Castor Troys with Rock Metal Nation.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, Rock Metal Nation. Hope you just found your new favorite band in the Castor Troys. Big thanks again to them for coming on and sharing their music with us. Make sure to head over to www.therockmetalpodcast.ca to get all the information on the show you just heard today. And until then, rock on, Rock Metal Nation.